Right. Sorry? Yes. Okay. Okay, thanks. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this morning's meeting of the Architectural Review and Planning Board of October the 17th, 2024. Renee, would you call the committee to order?
Mrs. Orthwine.
Present.
Mr. Lyons.
Here.
Chairman Murphy.
Here.
Also present and participating are Town Manager Dunham, Assistant Town Attorney Nazaro, and myself. Absent with notice is Bob Doherty, Curtis Roach, Tom Smith, Brian Coulter, and Terry Powell.
Thank you. We now go on to the minutes of our meeting September 26th. And before I ask for a motion to approve them, point one, I don't think Tom did call the board meeting to order.
With that change, I make a motion to approve. Katie, you want a second?
I second.
Mrs. Orthwine.
Yes.
Mr. Lyons. Chairman
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes. Are there any additions, withdrawals, deferrals, or arrangement of agenda items this morning?
Nothing from staff.
Okay. Renee? Okay. So just to draw our attention to forthcoming meetings, I know we did some chopping and changing last month, and our next meeting is on November the 21st. And with that, we go on to the public hearing part of our meeting this morning. Has there been any ex parte communication with the applications that are presented to us this morning?
No.
No. And so, Renee, please would you administer the oaths to anyone who wishes to speak this morning?
Stand, raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help God.
I do.
Thank you. And with that, we go on to the first application in front of us this morning.
Good morning, everybody. Good to be back here from the Mr. Pijota days, if you remember.
Yes.
Finally, about to finish the house. It's looking good, I believe.
Excellent.
Yeah, very good. My name is Richard Brummer. For the record, I'm here representing Christina and Artie Ermers for the new house in our town. The property address, and I think Renee is trying to put my last meeting presentation.
They got it right now.
Okay. Well, the property is located in 2775 Avenue of Soleil. It's right at the entrance of Place of Soleil. It's that first empty property that we have, funny enough, in the corner of Avenue of Soleil and Avenue of Soleil. The property is 21,851 square feet. And there we go. Just to get some graphics on, the location. Here we can see the location of the property right at the entrance of Place of Soleil. Very particular, interesting property. I've known this property for many years. We did a design with Mr. Stanton many years ago. And then I believe there was another project with Shane Ames that was designed for that property. And I guess third time is the charm, and we're going to build a beautiful house on this property, finally. We have, after that, a couple of pictures of the property with the surrounding calusias that, we're planning to maintain there. And then a few pictures of the surrounding properties around the area, all one-story houses, beautiful, classic Place of Soleil styles. And here's our site plan. We're proposing a 5-bedroom, 5-bathroom, and a 3-car garage house. with a covered loggia and a summer kitchen on the back of the house. On the front, we created sort of a car courtyard, so we're hiding the garage doors, the access to the garages from the front, from all the street elevations that we have, all the street visuals that we have, especially because we have technically three streets on this property. So we created this courtyard to be able to access the three-car garage and hide them from, the visuals. In addition, we created, the circular driveway to enhance and to have an easy access and exit from the property. As the road that we have outside is only one, single lane road, we have the median in between. And to the back, we have created the 15 by 35 foot pool, parallel to the back of the property, facing the house with a beautiful spa. Regarding the setting, we laid it out this way, and actually the Kalusia on all the west side of the property the idea is to retain that, as you can see from the side plan, from the landscape drawings, and we're going to see a little bit on the renderings later. The style of the house is basically, we designed this as a one-story house to stay within all the neighborhoods that we have around the house. And the style is a British West Indies, taking some of the detailing and, something that drives beautifully with the rest of the neighborhood. If we continue to the next slides, we're going to see, these are the volumetrics showing the different elements that we did. So we don't have an overpowering front elevation. It's not a flat front elevation. We wanted to keep this 2 volumes and to mix, less of an impact with the size of the house to the neighborhood, and to create some interest on the details and elevations of the house. And finally, on the slide, I have a few renderings, more realistic pictures, so you can see the combination of colors and landscape with the house. The last few here you can see, so you have a better perspective on how the house, or the idea that we have with the house. On the top left side here, you see that is a combination. Basically, the right shows the house, but the left top is the one that has the Kalusia. So all that side of the house, the west side of the house, is going to be covered. When you're driving in, you don't have in front of you that the house, it shows itself as soon as you start driving through the Avenue Soleil. And then the last 2 renderings are basically from the back. Again, we have also Kalusias on the back, hiding, so to get privacy from the new street that we have in the back. Of course, on the rendering, I didn't put the Kalusia because we wanted to see the house. But there you can see the intent of the house and the recessed loggia that we have with the different elements of the elevation, to break it up a little bit so it doesn't look one big flat rear elevation. And that's basically our project. If you have any questions.
Yeah, Richard, could you go back to the front elevation on the landscaping?
Sure.
I'm just trying to match that rendition up with the landscape plan that's in front of us. I can see the 2 trees on either side of the entrance.
There's one tree right in the island that we didn't put.
No, that's yeah.
Okay.
I understand, because you can't see it. But what's the? Could you give an idea of what the height is in that tree that's going to go? I can see where it's going to go.
This one?
Yeah.
This probably is going to be around, this height, and
Not that high. It's at 40 feet high. It's that high.
well, no, it's not going to be 40 feet high, but you're going to see.
I know what you're saying, but basically it's in proportion to. So that's it. It's just, it's just that the landscape plan here, and obviously you can't see the detail in the plan.
Yeah, it's like for example with the Kalusia here, if I do it with the landscape, you don't see the house.
No.
So I wanted to showcase a little bit more the house and the landscape that is close to the house.
What we did last month, if this moves forward, and I have to say if this moves forward, is to give the 2 renditions, one with the full vegetation,
Okay.
as in when it's finished what it'll look like, and definitely that because it gives the beautiful detail of the house.
Okay.
It's just before
We can create that.
yeah,
Definitely.
It just then it gives the full picture,
Sure.
which reflects directly to the landscape plan in front of us.
Okay.
Questions? Sorry for jumping in.
A couple of comments and one question. One, I appreciate the fact that you took the streetscape
Mhm.
and try to fit the house you were designing in the context of the neighboring properties. So also thank you for turning the garages
Inwards.
in, which is encouraged, whether it's mandatory. I think it's a beautiful house. So
Thank
it's
you.
a nice improvement to what we've seen over the last 10 years, I think. Shutters.
Mhm.
Help me with shutters, Trey. Is that normally encouraged?
So it is encouraged, it's not required for this architectural style. So we do, and I know Renee at all of our pre-application meetings does encourage if shutters can be included, and she suggested they be included on the project.
So if you could comment on the impact of the presentation of the house you've designed, do you think that would enhance or neutral on it?
I think that the shutters, basically the shutters is a protection for the windows, and it becomes, an architectural texture to the elevations. In that sense, I believe the house has enough articulation and details that they don't require us to add that additional texture or detailing to the elevations. That's my first point. On a second point, normally shutters are supposed to be, half of the windows. You cannot do a window that is 3 feet with a shutter that is 1 feet because it doesn't cover the window.
Right.
So in that sense, if we look at the front elevation, for example, we will have the 2 windows in this area, we wouldn't have enough space to put all the shutters, or if we put shutters there, it's going to start becoming very crowded.
Yeah,
Those are the two elements.
What struck me was the side elevations, I guess the east and west.
Okay.
They have this big run of just windows.
Mhm. Yeah.
From when you drive in off Federal on the west elevation, like nobody's going to see that side. I guess on the east elevation, probably nobody's going to see it. So I don't know.
It's a very, and I understand your point, and it's a very, fine line that we, as far as the balance of the house, because technically, if the side elevations might call for, to have the shutters, but then it looks odd that you have shutters on the side, but not in the front. If you want the protection of the windows on the side, but then you don't have them in the front. And like you said, the side elevations, the fact that we have that big collusion, you're not going to see that. You're going to see more the play of the roofs coming in and out on the side elevation. Granted, there might be a big plague next week and, all the collusion is dead. Now you're going to see the elevation, but hopefully it doesn't happen. But that was our, we take the British West Indies and leave it as a clean, look and consistent all throughout the house, or we add shutters on the side and not on the front. That is kind of conflicting.
Okay.
So those were the, parameters that we.
I think you have designed a wonderful house, so I'm fine with it.
Thank you.
The standing seam metal roof on the back of the house.
Yes.
It notes in here that it's a bronze finish. My
Yeah.
understanding was that we only allowed unpainted copper metal roofs, but
So that's true. So it's allowed under limited circumstances as like an accent, but I believe it is unpainted copper. It's not. So what material is that?
That's going to be a metal, a bronze material matching the window frames.
Right. So that would not be permitted.
Okay. That can be done as a, regular as a tile. We wanted to enhance a little bit more the detail, but it could be done with the same roof tile as the rest of the house. Definitely.
So that could be an option, or
Mhm.
if you wanted to stick with a metal aesthetic, we would allow unpainted copper as an accent.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think the copper is going to, I think
Match
that
with
the tile is definitely going to be a much better, detail for those eyebrows.
it's a beautiful house.
Thank you.
It certainly is a beautiful house, and
I can leave you my card later so you
Thank
can
you very
design
much.
your house.
it's a statement when it sets the tone for when you drive into Plaza Soleil. You know, apart from looking ahead, it's the first property you drive past as you come in. It's a beautiful home. So with that, if there are no more questions,
We have to thank also Christine and Matt. They were big drawing, they drew the
you
whole
don't need an
design.
architect, okay? You just go.
Yeah.
I'm a rookie architect.
Oh, she's very good. I'm a good listener, that's all.
So with that, could I ask for a motion?
Thank you very
I'll
much.
make a motion to recommend approval of a level 3 architectural site plan based on a finding that the construction of a 6,675 square foot British West Indies style one-story single family dwelling with a 3-car garage, covered loggia, swimming pool, including new landscape, hardscape, meets the minimum intent of the design manual and applicable review standards with the following conditions. Any minor modifications to the approved landscaping shall be submitted to town manager for review and approval, and any major modification shall be brought back to the ARPB for review and approval prior to commencement of landscaping.
Could we have a second, please?
I second.
Renee?
Mrs. Orthwine,
Yes.
Mr. Lyons,
Yes.
Chairman Murphy.
Yes, with that, thank you.
Thank you very much.
So we move on to our second application in front of us this morning. Mark, you have the floor.
Morning again. For the record, Mark Marsh, representing Joe and Missy Walsh. We presented this to you, I think, in June of this year, earlier this year. And I don't want to belabor it because I've been put on a clock here. The house, if you remember, was a renovation of an existing house. And it was a Mediterranean house. We are turning into a British West Indies house, and I'll show you the differences. Over the time we've demoed, we found that a third of the house, or a little over a third of the house, was on non-compliant piles. And if I can show you on your, can you go back to this? Back, please. Back one. Third of the, or more than third, almost half the house on the west side was on piles, but they didn't comply to the DEP criteria. So we had to demolish the whole of this west wing, in effect. And I presented that before. However, in going through and looking at it closer with the owners, some of the things that came to light were that and if you recall, this had, I think, 18 45-degree angles on the corners, primary corners of the house. We did everything we could do. But what we've done now is taken all those corners off and made everything rectangular. This wing here, this is a before. Sorry, we had this little kind of hook part of the house. We've now simplified it. Well, maybe we'll get this right.
Yeah.
Simplified. So we squared it up, and basically, and the reason we're here this morning, staff correctly brought it forward because not that it changed the architectural style or the look of the house, but there were a number of minor changes that were made. And primarily, you can see on the front, this was that kind of what I call a hook thing, where it kind of created a L shape and kind of crowded the house. We're able to now simplify the house. And we did add this kind of colonial arch element, which is obviously talking to the main entry, which is some distance behind. We removed some windows here, simplified that. Keep going. Okay. It's easier to do on the elevations. On the rear, we removed 2 windows here because the owners are staying in a house that has bifold French doors and they hate them. That's what we proposed before. Here, these are going to be pocketing sliders that disappear into the wall. There's less fenestration. We added some shutters here. Continue, please. On the north side, we've realigned some windows, and I'll show you. Nothing changed here. We moved the door from here to here. Nothing changed here. We reorganized some windows here. If you slide up, you can see those more random elements which were responding to some of the interior aspects of the house that we're maintaining. Since we're gutting it and we have to, as you've driven by, you see three walls standing. We've now had the opportunity to reorganize the interior. So it did necessitate some minor changes, mainly in the fenestration. Continue. On the north or south side, similar, this is a simplified area. We added one window in this den. And basically, the roof is simpler, the elements are cleaner, and we've now finally got a rectilinear form from that 90-degree or 45-degree element that we had persistent throughout. So again, just go to the front. I'll show you what British Colonial really is, if you don't mind.
Yep.
Quick. Go back. Sorry. Oh, you're good.
Where you want me to go?
Keep coming down. Oh, no, down. Yeah. You can stop here. British Colonial has a pitch break roof, not a straight roof. You should have rafter tails, not a lot of ornament, shutters, and the roof material should be, a very tight shingle shake or a smaller tile. But it's not an overly embellished style.
Okay.
It's just a very subtle style. And it's, so just for information purposes.
Thanks.
I'm not saying that the house previously wasn't fine and nice, but it's not really defined correctly. It's more Cape Dutch.
On the items, and thanks for the staff bringing this back, because we say there's a long list, this makes a lot of sense. It says that an entry gate element was added to the front low wall.
Just says it here. Yeah. So it's an arched, element. This is a front wall.
Yeah, I've got that.
Which is about 40 feet.
Got it. Yeah, it's set out.
Because there's a courtyard that's designed on the entryway, because if the ocean side is not usable, it can entertain on the west side.
Thanks,
So, and again, it ties in, and these are just low gates with the slope of the arch there. So it's pretty straightforward, but I agree, I succumb to staff pressure and
we asked them, with pressure comes.
No, I understand, and I gave in, believe me. We were not trying to change the architecture or do anything.
No.
In fact, we had the opportunity to really clean it up now, so it's going to present itself.
Any questions?
I have one sort of global question, and it's not an answer I'm looking for. I'm just trying to understand the evolution of this project. You came in with a renovation, correct?
No, we were going to, major renovation, correct. We were going to gut the house and change majority of it.
So what percentage of the house have you totally demolished?
We were leaving 700 square feet plus. That's the code.
But basically you demolished most of the house.
Yeah, because again, the hardship was that half the house had to be removed.
Because of the piles.
It's a unique.
No, understand. Again, I don't have a purpose in trying to.
Right.
So if you basically demolish most of the house, why not, let's not get hung up, excuse the expression, in our own underwear. Let's get rid of do you really want to be working with a broken structure?
The east half of the house, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I've never seen this. Where the old coastal control line, everything east complied with even the current criteria. Everything on the west side did not. It was not up to the standard. So it made a predicament, but we're keeping a major portion of the slab.
Okay.
So
you're okay with that?
Yeah, it's fine. No, and we're going to tie it in, and it'll be fine. We've looked at it structurally, and it conforms, and so it's there's enough salvage value there, both cost and structurally, to make it the right approach.
I have no other questions.
Other questions?
Mhm.
Thanks for bringing all these tweaks back to us, Mark. Can
Okay,
ask
no,
for-
I
can I ask for a
got my
motion,
scars
please?
on my back.
Yeah. Can I ask
42
for a
years,
motion,
I need a
please?
lashing.
Okay, I'll make a motion. Do I have the right application? Yeah, I do. Motion to approve a level 2 architectural site plan based on a finding that the several proposed minor changes as presented in the application materials meet the minimum intent of design manually applicable review standards.
And a second, please.
I second.
Mrs. Orthwein?
Yes.
Mr. Lyons?
Yes.
Chairman Murphy?
Yes. And with that, any items from staff?
Thank you very much.
No.
Any items from staff?
Nope.
In that case, items from board members? No?
Before you call the meeting, I just want to confirm that the approach that staff took was the correct one, because we don't want you to approve a project and then when you drive by, there are a number of small changes that do look like, okay, well, I don't remember that window being there. Again, any one of these, even 2 or 3 combined, we would have probably been fine at the staff level. But just given the fact that there were 8 or 10 changes that did all change the aesthetic of the project, we did require him to come back, and he was not happy about that. But Renee stood her ground and said, Mark,
Well done, Renee. Well done,
It's sort of similar to what occurred at Lemon Hill. You remember several
Yeah,
months
they
ago,
kept
they
that.
came back, we had about 10 or 15.
Which we-
Small things.
similarly, they came back with 1 or 2 changes at a time, and we did that maybe once or twice. But then all of a sudden we said, listen, these are
I hate to put a
dribbling
kibosh
in.
to this, but
Let's
Mrs.
do that
Orthwein
all.
needs to get to a board meeting.
And
Oh,
also-
yes.
and
Yeah,
also-
okay.
and
All right.
also,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something we introduced this year. It's obviously working. So that's from the board, the staff, public. Thank you very much, public. And with that, I adjourn this morning's meeting. Thank you, everyone.